What this looks like is a big fat bluegill right at the surface of the water, kind of lunging forward and grabbing insects off the top of the water. It mimics a feeding bluegill. The hula popper is one of the forgotten greats of the topwater bass fishing world. It's been around for a century or so. This was my grandfather's, and I bought this one just a couple of days ago. They come out of the box looking like this. So you see there's two hooks on there. They're mounted. There's two screws going up. There's a place for the hook to mount. The hook mounts directly. There's not a split ring. They make another model of this bait that's recently come out where the treble hooks are suspended by a split ring. This video does not apply to those. This is the original model, okay? And I like these better, and I'm going to show you why. When you get them out of the box, they come with two small treble hooks that are super close together. You need to kind of ditch that concept almost immediately. The bait itself is fatter than the gap of the hooks. So a lot of times a fish can grab it and then let it go without ever getting hooked. So you got to upgrade hooks. If you notice, I've removed the double hooks and I've put in a much larger 1/0 bleeding bait mustad hook. It's a sharper hook than what comes on them. They have a much wider gap. This is a wide gap treble, and because it's down from 6 hooks to only 2 hooks, it's much safer to deal with, especially if you fish out of a kayak like I do. And you don't want 6 hooks flopping around when you've got a big fish in a kayak. That's a huge problem. Go with 1 hook only, the back hook specifically. Put on a huge treble hook, a good bleeding bait hook, then trim off the hook that's hanging down. That's going to make this much more weedless. So in the water, what we get is almost the same hook setup as a hollow body frog, except that you don't have to keep squeezing the water out of this one. They're everywhere, and they're about half the price of a hollow body frog. This is the larger model. These are the only 2 sizes you need, really, is the biggest one, next step down. So the huge one and the next step down. So I've got this bleeding bait hook hanging down, and that causes the bait to sit down about like that in the water. And what this looks like is a big fat bluegill right at the surface of the water, kind of lunging forward and grabbing insects off the top of the water. It mimics a feeding bluegill. Bloop, 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 like that. Bloop, 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 like that. And that's how you work it. Because of that big flat mouth, all it takes is just a touch of your wrist. You can throw this into a shadow or some high percentage places like these log jams got back behind me here, and really keep this bait in the strike zone a really long time. Get a little pistol grip rod in your kayak, get in close to the cover, throw it into the shadows and up deep into the cover, and just twitch of your wrist will keep that bait moving, having a ton of action, having a ton of sound, but staying in the strike zone for a long time. That's one of the unique things about this huge mouth. What they come with is skirts on the back like that. Those will eventually wear out. They're not bad, they'll eventually wear out. And that's fine. There's a little plastic piece right back here, and you can put on spinnerbait or jig skirts. I prefer jig skirts because I like to fish the black ones. I like black blue. This one's sort of like a smoke color. I like black blue, black smoke, black chartreuse, even black and red. To go with this bleeding bait hook, I'll go with sort of a dark metal flake red over this black. And that's an excellent way to go. If you're only gonna buy one of these, get the big black model. If you're gonna buy a collection of these, you need the chartreuse one for sure. You need this sort of bronzy colored one for sure. And they make another one that's sort of yellow. That's a good one as well.